Listen, if I don't make cutoff somewhere, we're watching everything. Do we want to watch everything?
Why can't we just watch everything?
We don't have time. There is no time.
Come on, we will make time. Listen, Mumi, all right?
On a more positive note.
And if there's one anime this season, Mumi, okay, that is about the dangers of adults in children's spaces, especially, digital spaces for young girls, it's Princess... Did we talk about Princess Session Orchestra last time?
Princess Orchestra?
I don't know if we did. Did we say anything about... I think we may have talked about it as like, oh, it's the Precure killer from the Symphogear guys.
I don't know. I don't know if you talked about it or not. I feel like I don't have as much to say about the show specifically, so much as like the reaction around the show, where I've seen people like complaining that it's like an idol show, Magical Girl. They will not be named.
They will not be named. They know who they are.
You know who you are.
The people listening who know who we're talking about know who we're talking about.
They will not be named. But fuck it, they said like, oh, it was okay when it was Symphogear because it was more like Macross. And it's like, what?
I don't know what that means.
It's the same thing. Like what?
It is just the same thing. Like as soon as in that first episode we saw like the concert scene, we're like, here we go again.
Oh no.
All right, strap in. All right. How many people will die this? Which people can't die in this show, at least, because it's not Sword Art
Online. You don't die in the game in real life.
No, it's kind of like a Mamoru Hosoda kind of thing, like Summer Wars or whatever. Where I'm curious to see what it does, because it is going to be like 50 episodes long, so it's kind of
actually
kind of hard to say.
Now that I think about it, they're just in that world, right? Because it shows like they disappear from the room. I don't know. That's supposed to be like
a metaphorical thing.
Yeah, it like literally shows them disappearing.
Yeah,
and then her friend like has her muse taken or something, and so she's just like comatose in that world.
I guess maybe, yeah. I don't know how that would work. I guess that's something that they'll have to deal with eventually. I didn't watch episode 3 yet, but it is like because bad things still can happen to them, but they're like psychologically bad. Like you lose like your motivation and like passion for something, but it's not like they're not killing people.
No.
Which, given that this is meant to be like a Precure competitor, would certainly be something. Can you imagine?
That would be
if it was like as edgy as Symphogear, but it's like little girls in Japan watching it.
It'd certainly be a choice to start murdering your Precure character.
That would be the craziest. Then you know what? People who complain about Madoka ruining the magical girl genre may actually have a little bit of a point. It's like, oh no.
Listen, all right, they just took Precure Killer a bit too literally.
A little bit too far. Maybe dial it back. I don't know. Yeah, it should be like a nice enough show. I guess we'll see, because we have the two girls introduced so far. I think going by the poster, there's going to be 3, like that form like the main like party. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it pans out. It's delivering on what I would want out of a show like this. It's not like top echelon of the season for me, but no. I want to stick with it for like a full year.
I'm kind of mixed in a way, in the sense of like watching Precures. Some of the most interesting parts were like the kind of conspiracy theory elements, where like they have this whole Tower of Babel thing. They fight the Nephilim. You have the Illuminati that attacks them. That's literally controlled by Satan, and is like
Are you sure you're not talking about Symphogear?
No, I'm talking about Symphogear.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, some of the most interesting things about
Precure.
Oh, sorry, Symphogear.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what the fuck is happening in Precure? Holy fucking hell!
Precure goes pretty hard sometimes.
I wasn't aware that Precure and Symphogear had so much in common.
No. So some of the most interesting things about Symphogear are those things.
Yes. Yeah.
And also, it took 5 seasons for it to get to a level of action that I was like actually invested in just the action, right? Like before that, it was like fine. It had hype moments and aura.
Season 1 was a little like rough visually.
Yeah, season 1 was probably the worst.
After that, again, it's fairly consistent.
Season 2 is when it kind of really leaned into the cliffhanger shit in a way that really worked from like a week to week perspective. This is not. I can't imagine this is going to have the level of action and like animation that Symphogear XV had, which is a problem in that sense, because that's like the main reason I liked that season. That was the first season I gave like above a 5.
It's going to be a question of what is it going to offer that Precure doesn't. If it's just going to be like very similar to Precure, then it's like, why are we really doing this apart from like trying to take down the champ?
Right.
But if you're trying to do that, then I don't know, you should be doing something.
It is
really
offering
incentivize people to watch.
I mean, just the core concept of like seeing what you're fighting is already kind of cool, like inherently.
Yeah.
So it's offering that in a kid-friendly space now, as opposed to just Symphogear.
As opposed to people dying constantly.
I could see them kind of incorporating that Illuminati stuff from Symphogear into this, because they kind of are giving, not necessarily like using the Illuminati specifically or like
no,
but like
it does have like a kind of like conspiracy kind of like thing going on with like the villains.
I mean more even just like the interlocking parts or interlinking parts. That's what I mean. Where like the villains kind of have this whole like chess piece thing going on, where they're like, oh, these are the pawns, this is a knight, and all that. So it's like, okay, there could be something they're building on with that. They establish like these things aren't from the digital Digimon world or the real world. They don't know where they're from.
Yeah, there's something going on there, because like it's interesting that it's a space that seemingly can only be accessed by little girls.
Yeah. So
it's like there's definitely going to be something like a general sort of theme of like there's like an outside force kind of encroaching on what should be like a safe space for little children.
Right.
So that'll probably, that's like going to be like the main like driving force. So it'd be interesting though if they kind of do like, oh, there's like a nefarious thing going on with this. I don't know if I would quite like that kind of plot twist, but it is a route it could go.
I feel like they're setting expectations decently enough where it's like there's clearly something kind of deeper going on, but it's not going to be the deepest thing, right? It's just
right,
there's something that you can kind of look forward to that we might expand on, and it's setting the expectation that there's something there, but it might not necessarily, it's not going to be like fucking Evangelion or something. It's not gonna be
we have to keep in mind that unlike Symphogear, this is actually being made for little girls. And hello and welcome to the Weeb Crew, an anime podcast where 2 grown-ass men have thoughtful discussions on anime made for little girls.
Did you just make our cold open just talking about Princession Orchestra?
Yes, I goddamn did. So that's going to filter out all the normies who want us to talk about like hype moments in Aura in the latest episode of Yaiba.
Is that what people want? Yaiba talk?
I don't know.
How many people are watching?
I think the hype moments in Aura show is like To Be Hero X this season, which we already talked about in the last episode.
Did we? I don't see. This is gonna be a problem. I don't know what we talked about in the last episode. We just kind of went all over the place. Didn't have like a list. Just kind of. This is gonna be a fucking mess.
It'll be fine. Well, because like speaking, okay, so when it comes to Princession Orchestra, the other most similar show this season then would be Maebashi Witches, and that has like an element to it where I'm like, is there a darker undercurrent to this show? Because the Luna character, the cute mascot, is like a frog, Keropi, and he has like a kind of sinister vibe about him. I don't know how to quite like figure it out, but
I don't know if I call it sinister. It's just like
there's something off.
They kind of play on it where they do the thing where he's like, he's actually an exploitative boss. He's like, I'm going to take off for this, this, and this without ever telling you I was going to do that. It's like, oh no, he's He's actually a bad guy.
They're getting like stuck into debt or something. But yeah, I don't because like with Maebashi Witches, it's like I don't know if that show's necessarily gonna get like dark, especially because they're not fighting. It's not like a magical girl show where they're fighting anything. They're just helping people by doing their Oompa Loompa songs.
Yeah, I don't see how it could get dark unless it is like in exchange for power, they're somehow losing life or something. I don't really know how you would go about that and make that dark, that concept of singing for people and helping people.
Actually, guys, trying to help people is like that's like the message he's trying to send. It's like helping people is wrong. You should only ever look out for yourself.
Helping people,
everyone else is an enemy.
Yeah, I don't really know. Like it right now, it seems like it's just gonna be kind of almost like a surrealistic, like magical girl show, almost like Revue Starlight, or maybe to a lesser extent something like Shimatsu Train. Where
I don't know. Well, the main thing that reminds me of like terms of like something like Shimatsu Train is just how fast paced the dialogue is in the show.
Fast paced. It's not as like dense. As Shimatsu Train. It is very like in your face with like the imagery it's doing. So it does remind me more of like a Revue Starlight, where like they're doing the fights and then like the symbology and symbols, all this shit is like, oh, I know what you're doing. Okay. And you know, that kind of thing. It's like, it's not hiding it from you. You don't have to like read fucking 12 pages of some novel released in 1937 to understand some deep cut reference or something. But holy shit.
Listen, all right. Dostoevsky is essential to understanding Maebashi Witches. All right. I say this as someone who has never read a single paragraph of Dostoevsky.
But have you heard of Nietzsche?
I have heard of him. No one knows how to pronounce his name, and that's all I know.
The closets are leaving or entering into the witch world is beyond good and evil. Okay.
Okay. That's an interesting kind of thing because they are getting to this like surrealist kind of like cafe. It's like a non-space almost, but they're accessing it through their closets.
Yeah.
Like there are like interesting ideas there. I'm just not entirely sure what the show is about yet, apart from these girls seem to have like emotional hangups or some sort of like dilemma or thing going on in their life. And they're like going to be meeting people through this cafe that are kind of like reflective of that and like help them work through it. Well, they're also helping them by singing. And again, Oompa Loompa songs. They are basically just Oompa Loompa. Like we cannot, this is just Oompa Loompa songs.
My guess would be that it's going to be kind of similar to like a Doremi or something, where they set off to become witches for a specific goal. Those goals are kind of then either like achieved or reconciled through their experiences with the other girls, and they realize they never needed the magic to achieve their goal, and then they kind of go their separate. They don't go their separate ways, but they kind of abandon the idea of becoming a witch for whatever reason.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
It is kind of hard to pin. It is only single core, I think. Let me double check that real quick. Yeah, 12 episodes. So, I mean, I guess we'll see.
I'm literally just basing this based off of basically the first like major character arc any of them's had, which is the main like almost like antagonist girl to the main protagonist.
The fucking bitchy girl that is like upset about her body image because she's like overweight or whatever.
Yeah, she projects like, oh, I'm actually like really hot and I got like nice things because I'm better than you or whatever. And then it turns out like, oh no, she's like fat in real life and she only looks like skinny like how she wants to look in the magical world or whatever that they're in their closet.
Yeah, which is also then why she wouldn't want to leave to help them go like out and like pass around posters saying to come to our magical cafe where we'll sing to you and fix your problems or something.
The second person they help was like a plus size model, and so there's a very clear parallel being drawn where they kind of work through her problem and through by extension working through the girl's problem. They then help the other person's issue. So
it is nice. I do like how like they kind of like go about like resolving that.
Yeah, I would guess that this is gonna be formulaic in that sense, where it's like, you each character kind of has their moment with another person.
Unless like, episode 4, we watched that and the fucking frog devours one of their souls or something.
That'd go kind of hard
as a form of payment because they haven't like paid back their debt or something.
Every day you're in negative, I eat one of your souls.
Oh God. I don't know. You mentioned like the symbology, if you will, of the show, and like we were talking about this the other night with the show we were watching together on the couch, of course,
holding
hands in
hands.
each other's pants.
Mm-hmm.
What?
As you do.
Yeah. And we were like, you know what? This is just pretentious enough.
Oh, you're talking about your Forma?
Yeah. It was like, you know what? This is giving me just enough. Like that's kind of like up its own ass that it's like, yeah, you know what? This is. It's not obnoxious about it. It's not like super like, oh yeah, I understand. But it's it gives you enough to lead you to like the idea to like what you're supposed to take away from it, rather than just kind of actively spelling it out by two characters talking about Nietzsche or whatever the hell.
Yeah, I'm surprised that your Forma is not more popular, because it is like that sort of Ghost of the Shell kind of concept that people generally kind of gravitate towards. Like they always complain, I don't want high school girls, I don't want romances and rom-coms, I don't want isekai. And then you get like a Your Forma, which is like Ghost in the Shell 2, and everyone kind of just like, it's just Ghost in the Shell again. And it's like, you could try it
again.
What do you want?
Yeah, this is the different thing that you're supposed to like. It's like that thing where it's like, I think that there should be more original, auteur-driven movies in movie theaters, and then when one comes out, with the exception of Sinners, just no one goes and watches it. So it's like, I don't know, practice what you preach. Go watch Your Forma. It's pretty good, honestly. Not the greatest, but
it's
good.
Competent. Like, yeah, it sounds really like not disingenuous, diminishing. What's the word I'm looking for?
Diminutive.
Yeah, like I'm just. It sounds. Anyway, whatever that word is, to like say that it's competent, but I say this in the sense of like you compare it to like a Psycho-Pass, because Psycho-Pass is the one that everyone talked about after it aired back in 2012 or whatever. Like, oh, it's just like Ghost in the Shell, and you're like, no, it's not. What?
No,
like sci-fi cop story, I guess. Is that what Ghost in the Shell is?
But there's like so many. That's also Dominion Tank Police.
I mean, this is basically fucking Minority Report or what? Like, it's about the nature of like crime and justice and all this, like how technology is going to reconcile. It has nothing to do with the nature of like, what does this mean? What does it mean to be human and defining humanity along the lines of like machine and human? Like, it has nothing to do with any of that. There's none of that in Psycho-Pass.
No.
This is actually dealing with the same kind of stuff that Ghost of the Shell dealt with. I guess the most charitable thing is like, oh, you just watch the first episode, like, oh, this is just iRobot with Will Smith. This fucking sucks. Like,
but it's like, well, that's kind of the thing. It's like the concepts in iRobot starring Will Smith are like, those are like, interesting, albeit like kind of stock and standard sci-fi concepts, but they are cool to see. The problem with the Will Smith movie is that it's action dog shit, and what it has to say and the way it explores those ideas is really dumb. And similar thing with like, what's that game that everyone, Detroit Become Human? Yeah, where everyone like that game came out and like everyone was like, why would you? It's like a race allegory. What the fuck are you doing? This is much more. It's not necessarily particularly like profound or innovative in terms of the ideas that it's working with, but the way that it does so is largely like very character driven. It's not necessarily like trying to preach these ideas to the audience as much as it is like these characters themselves working through those ideas.
The characters are not mouthpieces. Is a good way to push it.
Their interactions feel very organic, especially between like the main detective girl and her like robot sidekick detective guy. Like the way that those two like interact is like feels very like natural, and I quite like their like dynamic in relationship. And even though like like the ideas are not necessarily like mind blowing, I can still at least appreciate how they are incorporated into the show itself, where it's like there's a sort of like a craftsmanship to it. You know, you don't want to necessarily beat people over the head with it. So the way that it kind of like will lead you to certain things, you know, the way they talk about like Frankenstein, or, you know, maybe there's like a stained glass painting of like the creation of like Adam or whatever, or like he like the detective guy who's an android like hands her like a little like plush sheep, and it's like, I get it. I see what you're putting down. I see what you're like kind of doing there, but it's not beat you over the head with it like it's a fucking club.
Yeah, they kind of do the thing where it's like, because the conflict is not couched in the conflict of ideas, right? There's a conflict of ideas present, and that's kind of what they're putting forward. Like, this is the motivation for the guy, and this is the motivation for the woman. But it's more couched in like their interpersonal like conflict, their relationship falling apart. And the guy's like, oh, it fell apart because I thought you were going the wrong direction with this. And she's like, oh, I feel like these are my children now. And you're basically wanting to kill my kid. So like, yeah, the conflict of ideas is there, but it's couched in this very kind of personal thing.
Yeah. And the way that it handles these ideas itself it feels very like smart and mature, and kind of like it trusts the audience to like, even with these like fairly like overt elements and clues, it kind of just presents them to you, and then you yourself are expected to like then piece them together. And it's not a hard puzzle to like figure out, but it is not like you're not like going through like the Lego booklet of like trying to like, you know, following the instructions of what you're supposed to do. It's like a jigsaw puzzle, basically.
I really appreciate how they did that conflict though, because it's like they kind of leave you just enough where you kind of see where they're coming from. Where it's like the guy is basically the guy's like freaking out because he's like, their fucking black box is fucking insane. You basically made something like too intelligent to be controlled in any way, so you've just created this monster in a way. And that's why they make like the Frankenstein comparison, because she's like, oh, you know, Frankenstein didn't set up to create a monster. And it's kind of directly drawing the parallel to like him having this kind of like consciousness to it, where he can actually learn and grow through interaction and stuff. And she's basically kind of hinting at like, Frankenstein learned to be more human by watching other people and not being treated like a monster all the time. He learned how to speak and all this stuff. So it's like, it's doing things competently on like a level that you can appreciate. It's not like the deepest thing. It's not like, oh my God.
No,
oh my God.
I do like that. It's like it's a more balanced perspective too. Cause it's like, I can see why I can kind of agree with him, but I can also kind of agree with her.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily being like, this is the correct way, this is the wrong way. It's like telling you what to think, as much as it's kind of like presenting you with the different perspectives and kind of trust the audience to come to their own conclusions in like an emotionally mature way.
Yeah, I appreciate that they treat you like an adult and aren't saying, look, authoritarianism, bad, guys. You probably shouldn't have a giant cluster of psychopath brains judging how your society is run. Oh, gee, what? No way.
Okay. And
it's like, I like psychopaths, okay. I'm not.
I hate psychopaths,
but like, this is competent on, like, if you want quote unquote mature storytelling, this is closer than like Psychopaths, right?
Yeah, it's not very like puny with it or anything. It is very like, and if anything, maybe that's why it's not as popular as it is. Maybe it doesn't have like
the aura.
It doesn't have that kind of like, you know, people don't necessarily want what they say they want. When they say they want mature storytelling, they kind of just want to be like, kind of have their own biases affirmed, rather than, you know, presented with something that's a little bit more dialed back and tries to take like a more measured approach to these topics.
I don't know where a transition is to that.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, just go watch your Forma. It's honestly a fairly fun detective show, and it's at least to hold us over while we wait for the new Ghost in the Shell. But
kind of
I know what our transition is, because speaking of robots, we got to talk about Apocalypse Hotel, so that way Kenny Lauderdale won't get upset at us.
That was the only thing they said, was like, how the fuck do you not talk about?
Oh, I don't know how, because it's my favorite anime of the season, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know why you didn't bring it up.
This show. I don't. I think I was just kind of like saving it in our back pocket for this episode because yeah, I fucking love the show. It's just so wonderful. I love like the setting. I love the characters. I mean, especially Yachiko. She's such like a wonderful character. I love that the show's getting so much fan art. I love all like the gifs and reaction images with her. Yeah, I don't know. It's great. It has like really nice like sci-fi concepts too. Like, you know, first like the whole premise, like the first episode is just dealing with that and setting that up, and that's already like a kind of interesting premise. And then episode 2 is like, how do we communicate with an alien that we have like no like common language with in any capacity, and like trying to like figure that out. And then, have you watched episode 3 yet?
Yes.
Okay, so you were worried when they were going to introduce the Tanuki characters because you're like, oh no, what's this going to do?
Well, they're so prevalent in like the OP and ED. I'm like, what is this going to like turn into something else? Like, what does this mean exactly?
Mm-hmm. And what did you think about episode 3? Well, what do you think about the show, just in general?
I like it. I mean, it's an interesting kind of juxtaposition to like a Your Forma and stuff like that, because it is kind of defining humanity without humanity, right?
Yeah.
You get these aliens that are having to like, so you get the robots that are upholding these sort of societal structures in a way, and then these aliens come visit the hotel, and they are then expected to like conform to these societal structures in a society that no longer exists. And so it's kind of examining these things. It's not doing it like super deep or anything, but it's kind of poking fun and having fun with it, where it's like, why are these things expectations of people, and like how does that translate to someone that has absolutely no idea of our fucking concept of a society or whatever.
Yeah, or like they don't have like a common language, or in the case of the Tanuki aliens, they just put shit everywhere. Which the Tanuki aliens reminded me a lot of the cats from Uchujin Mumu this season.
I see it.
They just destroyed their own planet, and now they're here.
I was like, that is the second fucking time that an alien species has like destroyed their planet, come to Earth, and been like a cute household kind of animal sort of thing.
But what I really love about it is it's a very comedic show. Honestly, there's stuff in this that I've like laughed harder than I have in quite a while at an anime. I love the humor, and it's fairly like it's fairly dry, but in like a specific way. Where it's just like Yachiko will just open her mouth and dial-up sounds come out, and that just makes me laugh really hard. But below that, you do have this kind of like bittersweet undercurrent where they are waiting for people to come back to Earth, but people don't seem to exist anymore. So you kind of have this sort of like kind of like sadness to it, and like trying to like, well, if there aren't people anymore, like why are we even still doing this?
This is the bad ending for YKK.
yeah. Well, yeah, because it is very like YKK or Girls Last Tour, but there's a little bit more of like a group dynamic kind of going on with it as well. It's not just like one or two characters. It's like an entire cast essentially. So seeing how they all interact, especially like, obviously Yachiko is going to be interacting with the Tanuki characters a fair amount, but then there's also the environmental survey robot who has the voice actor for Kaiki from Monogatari. His name is eluding me right now, but
doing the fucking like stupid Yankee voice. Hey,
he is giving this performance his everything. Like when he tells like Yachiko, it's like, oh yeah, we haven't had contact for people for like thousands of years or whatever, and they're probably all dead. And Yachiko goes like, "Wow," and his reaction is just, "What?" It's fucking great.
It's very silly.
It's very silly, but again, it's like it's kind of like doing that in a way that is like there's still that undercurrent to it, and you almost like need that kind of levity to keep the show from being super fucking depressing, because it is a really like it's a really sad subject matter because they've been doing this for like centuries at this point, and every day they put the hotel together and like they go through all their stuff, and we've seen like they're like they've experienced like the hotel staff numbers just kind of keep dwindling. There used to be so many more robots that worked at this hotel. Just over time, they kind of like fall into disrepair and basically die.
Yeah.
And you just kind of get like little glimpses of that every episode. It's not necessarily like a super strong focus, but you do kind of get like maybe like a scene or two that kind of like deals with that. And like Yachiko is like she has like an idea, but she's obviously still like clinging on to hope. So it's interesting to see how the show is like navigating that.
I wonder how much of it is kind of planned to have her kind of be almost like grow to be more sentient in a way. Because like they have like the whole setup of her having these like weird achievements built in where it's like punch a guest.
Punch a guest. Oh, you get fireworks now.
What was the one that she got the coffee, like the coffee pot thing?
No, it was literally like host an alien guest, and now you can produce water from your mouth or whatever.
Yeah, this hot water. Like they're almost things that are like kind of encouraging her in a way to act against like her scheduled programming or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I wonder how much of that's going to come into play.
Matter of like, because with the two guests that have now stayed at the hotel, they have had to kind of like figure out how to do it, like because like they're not behaving like regular people. They have different ideas and stuff. So it's a matter of, okay, well, we can change some of the rules to obviously like accommodate other kinds of guests, obviously. Maybe not all of them. Maybe don't let them like fucking destroy their hotel room. But it's nice, and I kind of like the payoff with like the Tanuki characters. That they end up like feeling bad, like the little girl, like it's like I want to work for the hotel now.
Oh, the Tanuki girl's really cute.
She was like, well, there was something I was thinking too in the back of my mind is like, oh no, is Yachiko gonna have to see these characters like grow old and die?
Oh no,
they nip that in the bud almost immediately. Or it's like, no, I'm like 53 years old.
I mean, they still could.
They still could, yeah. We did get like a time skip of like 50 years to have transpired between episode 2 and episode 3.
We waited 100 years for the last guest. We could wait another 50.
But yeah, it's just one of those things. I think it's very like emotionally resonant for me to watch in a way that like not a lot of anime are. So like just putting on every episode, like I laugh a lot, and it's kind of like you start to well up with little tears. It's like, oh, this is. I hope for the best, but I know it's pretty grim out there to say the least because everyone is dead.
Everyone's dead. No one knows
everyone's
yet.
Dead.
It would be funny if the reveal is like they tell her that everyone's dead, and she's like, "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" It's like she almost like could like then focus on other things, and she's just like, "Oh, finally, I don't have to worry about that anymore."
Yeah, well, maybe that'll be the route because it is like this kind of idea. We get kind of more and more insight with each episode into like Yachiko's backstory, and she had a very specific kind of relationship with the owner of the hotel that we kind of get a little bit of a glimpse of in episode 2, and you get the sense that like the owner of the hotel kind of put like this hotel together and these robots together in hopes of like they are kind of supposed to become human almost.
Yeah.
So. Maybe that'll be kind of like the idea is like Yachiko after a certain point is like kind of given freedom. That would be interesting. Like she can now like do other things. She doesn't have to be tied to this hotel. She goes out and explores space, or maybe opens up a hotel on a planet that's actually populated or something.
She's not having to freak out about missing shower hats.
It's an interesting perspective too on what's the Fermi paradox, where it's like if there's so much life out in the universe, why hasn't it come to Earth yet? And it's like, I don't know, it just takes a while because it's been like however many hundreds of years, and now 2 alien species have visited Earth. Maybe it just becomes a tourist destination.
But
like
they might be visiting Earth because it's unpopulated.
Maybe, yeah. It's like, oh, I guess we can go here. There's nothing here that could try to kill us immediately because, I mean, having seen Day-to-Day, that is what will happen.
Speaking of Day-to-Day and killing species or whatever.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about Uchuja Mumu last time, right?
I have no idea. Well, if we did, I think we only had episode 1 to go by, and we did not know that the show is going to be like, here's how to repair household appliances.
I kind of love it.
It's a funny cat show, which is hilarious.
It's very cynical, where it's just like,
yes,
as you said, they blew up their civilization and now they're having to like learn this fucking skill tree, but no one is smart enough to know the technology that they use on every day. So like they're basically dumber. Despite being some spacefaring species, they're actually like dumber than humans. Like they don't even know how to fucking like vacuum cleaner works.
Yeah, this has been a good season for just interesting sci-fi concepts, because this is like, I mean, I don't know how my computer works, if I'm going to be completely honest. If you ask me to build a computer from actually, no, Meta and we actually had an idea where if we're going to be like sent back in time, like 100,000 years, all right?
Uh-huh.
And we're going to be like, we basically have like perfect knowledge of how to do things, like, you know, of how to make a computer or like a nuclear reactor or whatever.
So basically like Dr. Stone.
So we only have like ourselves, but a complete knowledge of like the skill tree, and we can't like die or whatever. We won't age. We just have 100,000 years. And it's like, okay, how far in the tech tree can just the two of us get in the span of that 100,000 years? And can we get to the point where we are just then worshipped as gods by like prehistoric humans?
Probably not.
That's only like tangential to Uchujin Mumu, where it is like, yeah, I don't know how my stuff works, if I'm gonna be honest. I don't really care to either. I'll deal with the consequences if that ever comes up. It's fine. Nothing could possibly go wrong.
Yeah, Uchujin Mumu is funny to like compare to Dedede, and also Ni Under 7.
Yeah.
You have like this whole class system going on. Like Ni Under 7, to use the aliens as like this commentary for foreigners.
Like,
and this is basically using as a commentary of like technology and like people disassociating and not knowing how anything works anymore. So she like joins the fucking Human Preservation Research Society or whatever the fuck. And like, in the most recent episode, she learns how to replace the end of a plug. And she's like, oh my God.
I can't even do basic maintenance on my car without a YouTube video.
That's like, most people now. That's a huge. Like, we have fucking people that come and like work on machines at my work, and they're just watching YouTube videos.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the thing. It's like, I mean, I don't need to go to like a mechanic shop to like get my oil changed or replace like a headlight, because I can just look up a YouTube video for my specific make and model of my car that will then walk me through in very precise language what I am supposed to do.
Yeah, but that takes time.
I mean, I can put together a PC. I don't know about you. I don't like messing with my computer all that much, because like it feels like I'm doing like heart surgery, or I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna fuck up and break something, and that then just leads me to actually breaking something. So sometimes I do just let other people handle stuff for me, because I'm also not just because I'm lazy, because I'm a nervous wreck.
I begrudgingly let people do stuff. I would rather do it myself, but there's not a lot I don't have the time to try to figure this shit out myself. So I'm just like, just do it. Mm-hmm. Like I feel guilty when I take my car to get a fucking oil change, because I'm like, ugh, just like do this myself.
Yeah.
Don't let other people put their grubby hands on my car.
Get out the car jack, and like, opening up the fucking thing on the bottom is always like a pain in the ass. Like I got to get like a big ass wrench so I have enough leverage to do it. And it's like, I don't want to do this.
At the garage, they just have the thing they use drive on, and just underneath it. And this is much easier. It's like, okay, just do it for me.
Yeah. Just do it for me, and do not try to upsell me on anything else. I don't care if I need to have like my entire engine block replaced. Fuck off.
I don't
care.
The
other thing about Umamusume is, of course, the silly cat.
the silly cat show, because like they're not. I don't think they actually look like cats. They like it keeps showing the zippers. I think they're just like in a cat suit that they made. Because
something it's not entirely clear, dude. That's like a spacesuit thing. I guess maybe at some point they'll like unzipped the cat, which is a hilarious like thing to say. They'll unzip the cat and then something horrific will pop out.
That's
maybe it'll be like, like the baby in Eraserhead, where it's just like, oh god, put it back together.
That's inevitably going to happen. Something like that's going to happen. But they basically like established, like they made themselves look like cats because they thought cats were like the rulers of Earth because people kept watching cat videos and treating their pets better than they treat themselves or something. Like, why are you talking to the slaves, the cat slaves?
And now it's like, you need to help us, otherwise your planet will be fucking destroyed. Is this an anime original or is it a manga adaptation?
It's a manga adaptation, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. So I could definitely see like how like the tech support stuff then would fit into a manga, which it is like that's a nice little thing I've not really seen in anime before. Like we know like, okay, here's how to cook a meal, here's how to do a bunch of other stuff. I've not seen like, how does my microwave work? How does my refrigerator work? Things like that. It's a fun, grand old time.
The best slice of life have that kind of element to them. Is like like
tutorializing.
No, not tutorial, but like having like a specific kind of hyperfixation or whatever. Like this one's fixing how to fix appliances or take care of your fucking whatever the fuck you have in your like tools or whatever. And then you have like a mono where it's about taking pictures. But
no, it's not. It's really not.
It's not.
It's not. There are 2 shows this season that are about mangaka just traveling and going to places. It's fucking weird that we have that overlap.
Have 2 of those. Have 2 of the ones where the fucking aliens blow up their planet. Very weird season.
It's a great season. There's a lot of really like good stuff coming out this season, and but they also overlap in strange ways. Mono's great, yeah. Honestly, we just like you said, this might be your anime of the year so far.
It might just be my anime of the year, actually, and
we did
says a lot.
Episode 3.
Well, it says a lot that I'm feeling that way because I did not have any expectation for liking the show all that much. Because I didn't care about Yuru Camp.
Yeah.
And I just expected this to be kind of more of a Yuru Camp. Because like I went into Yuru Camp.
Which it kind of is.
This is almost what I wanted Yuru Camp to be. Like I couldn't quantify exactly what I thought Yuru Camp was going to be going into it now. Because that was like fucking almost 10 years ago now. But going into it, I expected something more like this. And you kind of get that with Rin. Like you get kind of that element, the Yashike element that this has.
Yeah.
But the club that they have, the camping club, never clicked with me as like a dynamic. And it's just kind of, it was like whatever. I didn't care for the characters. I do feel like
I should maybe rewatch that first season of Yuru because it has been so long, and maybe I just wasn't in like the right minds. I think I probably also like binge watched it. I don't know if that's really a show that should really be watched in like a single day or two. So probably maybe take my time with it a little bit more if I were to rewatch it.
I still need to finish the show. Like I've seen all season 1. I started watching season 2, but I never finished it when I was watching it week to week. Might as well just finish it off. But this is Mono has been fucking insane so far. Like
like visually, it's like just a complete like. Everything about it is like stunning, honestly.
It's an interesting comparison to something like Tamayura, because Tamayura is about photography in a way that this is not, where it will incorporate, the different perspectives, being able to see things from a different angle and stuff like that into the narrative or like the theme or the meta text of it. So, as like an example, you'll get an arc where like it shows a bunch of different characters taking a picture of the same spot. And it's like, you see how over time that place has evolved or changed or grown, whatever. But you also see like the different perspectives that each person has. So like one person drew from like a specific angle or whatever, like a landscape or something. One person took a picture from up close or like, shit like that. So you didn't really get that in this isn't not going in that route, but it's kind of taking advantage of the fact that there's like these camera, like the action cameras, GoPros, stuff like that, to like then give you like these interesting sort of perspectives of the show, like different angles and stuff. There's a lot of very funny like fisheye pictures of the show. And
that's the thing, is like, because like being able to do something like that, like that kind of like fisheye lens look, that really distorted perspective, is such a hard thing to pull off in animation. And it really speaks to like how strong the show is visually, that like it never really feels out of place. They have a lot of like weird angles and characters like incorporated into their environment in very dynamic ways, and it all is put together like perfectly. And I'm going to be honest, I did have to go back and rewatch the first episode because I realized I was so enamored with it visually that I wasn't really even processing the story all that much. So I was kind of like, I don't know what the hell just happened, but it looked really good. So I then like rewatched it and actually like paid more attention to the subtitles. But I kept getting distracted, being like, holy fuck, this looks phenomenal.
Like, not only does it look great, but the characters are all fun, and like it feels like a late to mid 2000s slice of life. Like the dynamics and stuff. Like it reminds me of watching like a sketchbook or an aria or something, and like how comedic it is, and kind of how it's incorporating that in all the right ways, essentially.
There's an interesting dynamic to it too, where like the character animation itself is very like silly and like, you know, cartoonish, but that you then like take that and like place it in like this very like naturalistic background, and it's something you almost would expect that to kind of like clash or come across as weird, but it's put together like seamlessly.
Yeah,
like it just makes perfect sense visually. And the group itself is very weird in terms of like who is in this group, because you have the main girl who was like in this photography club for like a year, and like her senpai went off and graduated, and all she ever did was like take pictures of her senpai taking pictures, basically. So now she's the one in the club. You now have her like junior, her Kyohei or whatever, Kohei, who is in like a similar position that she was, where she like, this character, the Kohei, is now really enamored with the main girl and just loves taking pictures of her, and she's just in love with her. She literally fantasizes about like growing old together.
I wonder how much of that is like a meta commentary on like mangaka looking up to other mangaka, and like their initial works
show being meta, and say it ain't so.
Well, their initial works are very inspired, or like basically imitations or copies of the person they look up to, and then like as they kind of progress, they then have to find their own footing, because like this show has that whole mangaka element to it, where the one of the main characters is just is basically just like a stand-in for the mangaka of like Yuru Camp in this. So I wonder how much of like that sort of thing is kind of like reflective of like her, and like, oh, you know, with Yuru Camp or something, I might have been looking up to like other people and drawing inspiration from them, but now I'm kind of like finding my own footing and drawing inspiration from other places or whatever.
Which, I mean, there is like a very obvious self-insert character in the show. Like the conceit of the show is this like manga artist is going on these adventures with these other like girls in high school, because she is drawing a manga about going on like adventures and stuff with high school girls. It's comically meta to the point it almost comes across as like lazy, where it's like, I just put myself in this because duh.
It's almost like she's just basically like everything you're seeing is basically just like her life or whatever. And then like in the latest episode, they go on a pilgrimage, like an anime pilgrimage, to like all the sites from Yuru Camp, and they're just running into girls from Yuru Camp. It's so stupid, but it's so funny.
We were watching the episode and just kept going, oh, there she is!
She is!
There's another one!
I don't remember her name, but there she is!
I don't remember her name! Yeah, it's such a wonderful. It's not my favorite show this season, but it is one that's like really growing on me, especially because it is just like, it's so strong visually that it's like, it makes me like the show even more, even if I'm not necessarily like particularly emotionally invested in the characters. I love looking at them from an animation standpoint, so I then end up liking them as characters as well.
I guess while we're talking about slice of life, could talk about food for the soul.
Oh God, this show is a Lynchian nightmare. The show it's a cooking show where they seem to like want to avoid cooking almost. It's really funny.
No one wants to cook but the main girl, and then like the other girl will cook, but that's like her job, so she's kind of just like,
yeah. The other girl's just along for the ride, and the head of the club is basically just Ed from Ed, Edd n Eddy, just running a scam. You're like, I made this club for the purely cynical conceit of having a space where I can do nothing for 4 years in college. Yeah. And it's like, well, no, you can't. You have to actually like show that you are doing things. And like, what? So
what?
Scramble.
Hypothetically,
like,
what would happen if we do nothing?
It's like you would be kicked out of your club.
Oh, gee, it's a good thing we're definitely doing things then.
Yeah, we're definitely cooking. Meanwhile, like the main character is having like schizophrenic breaks of like this egg mascot breaking into their room at night, taking off their mask, and it's them. It's like, what the hell is happening?
I wonder if this is inspired by Bocchi in any way. Because, I mean, this is an anime original, so it would have been in production after Bocchi, I'm pretty sure.
It does have that kind of energy, too, because, like, the main girl is, like, similar to Ujujin Mumu. Like, the main girl is, like, very, like, socially anxious.
Socially anxious, but it does, like, manifest itself in a very similar. It doesn't go as far as Bocchi, like visually.
No, it's not as extreme, but it does have like sort of like abstract representation on occasion.
It is that similar energy. Like I was going through Bocchi for the video, finding footage, and it does have a lot of similar like mannerisms and similar energy to Bocchi's like mannerisms.
I can definitely, and it's like you see like, oh, she's like struggling to order in a restaurant and stuff, and a lot of it does just feel very Bocchi-esque, and like she ends up kind of getting like whisked up into this other group almost like just on a whim by like the more extroverted girl in the group.
And that isn't to say like every fucking time that someone's gonna be a fucking introvert character, it's like, oh, this is literally just Bocchi. But like,
no, it is. No, that is.
Well, specifically the dark aspects of this very much make me feel like this has to be on some level inspired by Bocchi. Because like you have that whole like, she has like a schizophrenic break when she's falling asleep or something, and it's like she's like dressed up as the fucking weird YouTube mascot character, and like her head falls off, and she's like in the corner. It's like, what the fuck is happening?
Which we'll watch episode like 3 tomorrow. I'm curious if that's going to become like a running gag in the show, or if that was just a one-off thing. They really seem to like, what are they doing? They seem to be aware that this mascot character in the show is creepy as hell.
Well, I mean, in literally the first scene, like when they eat, they put their whole arm in the mascot's mouth.
Yeah.
It's like, this is God. It's like uncanny.
It's a wonderful, like, nice show about, I mean, I personally, you know me, I'm not much of a cooking guy, to be honest.
Oh, you got into this diatribe.
Yes. But I like the show still. I think the main characters are just fun to be around. It's a nice show.
No, they have great dynamic. Like it feels like the main character. What were they doing? The main girl.
They were just like dicking around, like playing baseball with like paper clips or something.
Oh yeah, like the broom handle and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The leader girl feels like a gremlin. Like she feels like a Toshino Kyoko from like a Yuru Yuri or something. The one, like the weird, I don't know what you'd call it, like the responsible one. I like her, even though she didn't have like a strong sense of characterization yet. She's just kind of like normal girl right now.
Well, you need her like to counteract the other two, because like the main girl is like too socially anxious to do anything about the other two girls in the club being fucking gremlins.
Oh yeah, that was another thing. Fucking the fourth girl, Higa,
the one that's kind of like deadpan.
The deadpan one with like the sheep, like she's just like the really small, long hair.
Yeah.
Girl.
Oh yeah, when she like walks into like the club room, she has the fucking massive thing on her back.
Yeah. The whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, I recognize this. This must be this actress. I have to look her up, and I go look her up. It still fucks with me that is not the girl who plays Chino from Gochi Usa, because she sounds exactly like her. Her and I guess most of the listeners will know her as like Rem from ReZero. Like she sounds exactly like Rem, like that kind of real nice like timbre to her or whatever. But it's not her. It's just a new. She's had one other role before. This is a new person. It's fucking me up. She's also born in 2003, and it makes me want to die.
Oh, knowing that there are now voice actresses in anime that are born after 9/11.
Yeah, she's like 22. She's. Where's?
Oh yeah, so okay, so it is the original creator of Non Non Biyori who like came up with this.
Wait, what?
Do you see any of that? Yeah, no, yeah, this is the original. Yeah, the creator Non Non Biyori did this. It's an anime original, but they have original story credit.
Original
basically.
creator auto. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. No, it gives you. Is it at all like? I haven't seen Non Non Biyori, but I guess. I mean, would that be like a valid point of recommendation for people to go watch it?
It's got a. Now that you're saying, I guess I can kind of see, like, somewhat of a parallel to him, like, Korea or whatever name, the one that I was talking about that just kind of seems mature, kind of seems like. Fuck, there's too many fucking names. The younger girl that's like the protagonist of Non Non Biyori who moves in. I can't remember her name is.
Biyori?
Yeah, Biyori. Non. I guess I can kind of see her as like her, the Gremlin girl. I don't know. The Higa, I guess could be kind of like Renge. Hotaru, that's who it was. There's somebody that's like pissed off that I forgot Hotaru's name.
I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
Hotaru Komori Kamugi?
Komori? Is this Hunter x Hunter?
Komori. Renge. I forget what the sister's name is. Fuck. Oh well. Anyway. Yeah, I can somewhat see it. Like maybe Non Non Biyori meets fucking Bochi with food, but they're in college. That's something you could sell people on. This is a cute girl slice of life show, but they're in college.
So you don't have to feel bad about being attracted to these characters because it doesn't matter how old you are. There's just never anything wrong with being attracted to girls in college. It definitely is not creepy if you're someone in like your like mid to late 30s and you're like, dude, I fucking love college. There's nothing creepy about that because they are above the age of consent. You're definitely not a fucking weirdo.
You're okay. You're A-okay.
All right, you're not a pedophile.
I feel like you're referring to someone specific, and I don't know what the reference is.
I'm just referring to literally everyone who's like, why can't these characters just be in college? And it's like, I don't know, people in college. Like now that I'm like in like my mid-20s, I look at people in college and I'm like, these are still just children.
I mean, that is the funny thing. Like they literally could just say that they're in middle school, and it would. Literally change
literally
nothing.
No difference. It would change absolutely nothing. It's completely meaningless apart from fucking weirdos needing to feel better about themselves, I guess.
I will say I do agree with you. I've reached the age where like I see a college student and I'm like, you're just in middle school, right? Like,
I do the what's the fucking Clint Eastwood Gran Torino gif and just kind of like disgust. Like,
I felt weird when like that happened with high school kids. Like I think it only took like 4 or 5 years for that to happen. Whereas like you're in high school, what the fuck?
Now it's like, oh, you're an undergrad student.
You're working on your master's.
Fucking.
You fucking 12-year-old. What the fuck?
Yeah, Food for the Soul is a good show for the good
for the soul.
Show for the soul.
I
think I said that correctly.
I'm being healed.
Being healed. ZatsuTabi is a show that is basically identical to Mono.
Yeah.
It's not as good. It's still pretty good. It's not as good as Mono, honestly.
There's more of a content tour, less content, more of a tourist element to ZatsuTabi.
It feels much more transparent in terms of how that's handled. Or like ZatsuTabi's really trying to make you visit these locations and like upsell you on like here's some things that you can do and why you should go visit this place.
Well, as somebody that has actually toured around Japan, Mono does not capture that at all. It's just kind of like the traveling itself is kind of incidental, right? Like they're just trying to get to the place, and like there might be funny things that happen along the way, but it's not focused on the element of traveling. ZatsuTabi is focused on capturing that element specifically, where it feels like if you've ever traveled in Japan, like outside of just walking from your hotel to like points in Tokyo or like taking the subway, this feels like traveling in Japan. Like going on the fucking bullet train, finding hotels, like all these elements feel exactly like just traveling in Japan. And it's kind of unique in that way, where it is focused on that thing, but it's very like transparently like go travel, go do tourism,
which is fine.
You want to. I'm interested in like I'd have to look. Like I know domestic tourism has been going down since COVID ended.
Yeah, I think we did talk about this a little bit last episode, where it's like it does kind of feel like trying to get more people just in Japan itself, because you can't rely on like foreign tourists to fucking leave Tokyo and Kyoto, and Osaka. So it's like people who live in Japan, maybe go out to the countryside a little bit and go see what the rest of the country has to offer.
Leave Tokyo.
Go
somewhere.
Leave the city.
Anywhere.
Return to nature.
North, south.
Have kids.
You say that reminds me of the fucking.
Maybe if the main character gets pregnant, I swear to God,
I'll make her pregnant.
The craziest fucking thing.
I'll make her pregnant.
But you were talking about this thing in terms of like, like looking up to people as like a mangaka and stuff. That is also just an element in ZatsuTabi. Like it was episode 3, where she meets up with like a friend who's still in high school, like her like junior classmate in high school, and she is like still obviously very much looking up to the main girl of ZatsuTabi.
Yeah, but that's more. It's more like literal. It's just like kind of capturing the senpai kohai dynamic more so than like Mono, which is more like metaphorical. I feel, or like kind of capturing that sort of meta element to it.
Yeah.
But you would say return to right to the fucking the ED for Uchijimumu. That's just the last lines are like we're turning back into monkeys.
Leave society be a monkey. Leave society be a monkey. Yeah, it is Uchijimumu is a firmly returned. If you imagine they destroy the world at the end of Uchijimumu, and it's just like how they do just need to figure out how to rebuild again.
They can rebuild it together.
And then the main character uses all the knowledge she's accumulated over the show to then just completely rebuild civilization over the course of a weekend.
No, it would be better if like they destroy Earth and the humans and the cat aliens just go to a third planet.
Oh, they just go. Oh, now they team up and just do the same thing to a different planet.
It's just the cycle continues.
The cycle continues. It's like they end up destroying the entire galaxy over time.
That would be great.
Did we talk about Ninkoro last time? Or do you have anything else you want to say about ZatsuTabi?
There's not much to say about ZatsuTabi. It's fun. It's fine. I like it.
Yeah.
What I don't think we talk about Ninkoro. Ninkoro is very dark.
You talk about Uchijimumu being kind of cynical. This is like fucking like just completely cynical. This is so fucking bitter.
This is my sense of humor
and mean spirit. Oh God, yeah.
Like
you just like stuff that is like firmly punching down.
Well, like it'll do the joke where like it, because the repeating gag is that she just kills them instantly, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's a funny concept. That's fun. I like it.
But then it lingers on like the fact that a life was just lost.
Oh no, it'll go back.
Like,
it won't linger on it. Like they'll just go out and do their thing, and then like it'll just come back to it at some point, and it's like, oh look, her apartment has been left untouched. Like she's just dead and gone. This was someone that had hopes and dreams.
These characters that the main character just killed, they all had like lives and plans and like goals and relationships and things going on, and it was all for nothing.
I loved the flashback where it's like the three girls that have been killed in the last 2 episodes are just sitting around like, it's so great that we finally reached a point that we can live our own lives. I can't wait to start a family. I've paid off my house. My life is just beginning. I can't wait.
They are literally doing like the classic like cop movie bit of like, I retire next week,
Except they killed the cop in the opening scene, and then you're seeing the cop later and just be like, I can't wait to retire. I've helped so many orphans.
I remember we watched like the second episode and we got to that ending bit because it's like after the credits, and I'm like, this is so mean.
I was dying.
This is like a terrible. Why would you do this?
I was
this is
dying.
A terrible thing to do.
I could not breathe.
It very much feels like it's like indicting the audience. Like, oh, you thought this was fun, didn't you?
And I'm like, yes. I love this.
And the closest, it reminds me very much of like the sense of humor out of like Edith and Tachi, where it's like Edith and Tachi, the characters will do something horrible, something completely fucking reprehensible, and it's hilarious, and then it makes me feel bad that I'm laughing at it.
Oh, this is someone being like tortured. You think this is funny? Kinda.
Yeah, it's like, here's literally like the first episode is like, here's like a horrific rape, and it's like portrayed in this very like artsy kind of over the top way, and then you just get a hard cut to like the girl's face, and it's just like just dead, like just a blank expression as like this guy's like raping her, and it's like, oh, that's so fucking dark.
I will say I did not laugh at that. That my humor doesn't go that.
No,
far.
I didn't laugh at that. I kind of like snapped me out of like laughing. I was like, oh.
Oh yeah.
It's like shaming me. It's like it's shaming me for laughing at it.
Yeah, I do love. Was it Ninkoro? Was that what the
yeah.
It? I do love this show. It's very. This is like my sense. Like Shaft is back, guys. God. We're so back.
Oh yeah, this is like the first like really like silly new Shaft show in quite some time. It feels like a good because like in terms of comedies from Shaft in recent memory, obviously Monogatari, but like before that there was Pretty Boy Detective Club. I think that was like fairly comedic. I didn't watch it, but there was also like a Nisio Isin adaptation. In terms of like stuff like this feels very like Mario, like late 2000s, early 2010s kind of Shaft. Like a
Sayonara Zetsubou Sensei, or maybe like a
very very black humor like Zetsubou Sensei.
Yeah, it's I've been loving the Return of the King, Return of Shaft.
Return of Shaft. It's not Akiyuki Shinbo. It is the director of the first season of Mariaholic.
I mean, I wasn't calling Shinbo the king. I was calling Shaft the king.
I don't think Shinbo will call himself the king either, to be honest.
He's a very humble guy.
He's a very humble guy. There's actually, did you see that blog post the other day that I posted in like my blog where it was like, what does Akiyuki Shinbo even do? He has like all these like chief director credits, but what does that mean exactly?
What does that mean? He really doesn't do anything. He
does stuff.
He comes
it's
in,
just not like
he puts his feet up, starts smoking a cigarette, and calls it a
day. another victory. It's like, sir, you didn't do anything. Goodbye.
Sasuga the master.
But yeah, and like the directing of it, especially like I think we watched like episode 2, and I was like, this is like so many Shaftisms like in the directing, like the way like the shots are framed, the way that like just hard cuts, and it almost felt like every line of dialogue was recorded independent of every other line of dialogue and then just kind of like stitched together. Had like a very kind of like just constantly just like boom, 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 boom. I don't know. Yeah, it's a devious little show to say the least. If you're someone who does not like things like seeing cute girls die in your anime, do not avoid this one like the fucking plague.
Yeah, they just stab. I don't know what she's like. I don't know if she's doing like a Vulcan like neck pinch or something, like but with a kunai. Because she just like stabs them once and they're dead.
And they're dead, and then they don't even get like a dignified death. Their bodies just get turned to leaves. All we are is dust in the wind.
Oh, it's fucking wonderful.
Yeah, they just scoop up the leaves and put them in the trash can. And it's like, I want to vomit right now. This is horrible.
I love it.
This makes me feel fucking sick watching this. Okay, so real quick, we're going to talk about Umamusume. I'm just going to put this like somewhere in the middle of the podcast somewhere. I don't know how I'm going to like do this, but I'm just going to quickly edit this in. Umamusume is a lot of fun. I'm surprised. Honestly, it makes me want to go back and like watch like other Umamusume installments, because all I've seen so far of Umamusume is this and the most recent movie with the Tachyon in it.
Yeah, I've only seen this, but I agree with you that like I feel like I've somehow missed peak. I'm just like, damn, the fuck have I been doing?
Honestly, this is a lot of fun. I love like the dry humor with what's the main girl's
Cinderella.
The main girl's fucking...
no, it's like Oguri Cap.
Yeah, Cap. He's such like a silly little fucking creature, and it's it's a really just well put together sports show, and I'm like, damn, I really need to get on the Umamusume hype train. What the fuck?
It very much feels like something like Kankole or something, but for horse racing, like horse jockey stuff, which is very funny.
Yeah.
It makes me very proud in a vicarious way that otaku can just make whatever into whatever.
And they could still make it work, because it is like a really solid sport. By the way, you don't need to be familiar at all with Umamusume as a franchise in order to watch this, as evidenced by us watching it and enjoying it, and we're not confused at all by anything happening, because it's a very straightforward sports anime.
Yep, it's good. It's great.
It's really good. It's
just like it's got basic execution level. It's like it does exactly what it's doing.
Like the hype moments and aura that it needs to. Honestly,
yeah.
Which I guess because it is kind of related, like. Because the Umamusume anime, I guess, are kind of like reflective of like real life, like actual races that happened. So I guess it's like eventually, I guess like the Oguri Cap horse in real life had a very successful career, and then I guess grew old and broke its leg, and they had to put it down.
Oh my god! Spoilers.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're gonna kill. I don't think they kill the horses. That would be horribly dark. They don't even let like people draw porn of the horses. I don't think they're gonna kill them.
I really hope they do. I hope they like have her like kneel down like execution.
Yeah, of course
style.
you're the one fucking like loving goddamn Ninkoro. You just love seeing anime girls suffer. You fucking psycho. This is what Madoka does to you, by the way.
The butcher is healed.
But it's also Psy Games too. So it's like. Is Psy Games saving anime movie?
What else is in their catalog? Did they do Kankole? No.
No. So they've done. Let me see. They've basically done all of Umamusume, Princess Connect Redai, which was
they did Bang
the first
Bravern.
episode, a lot of fun. Oh, they did Bravern. They did Idolmaster, Cinderella Girls, U149. Yeah, Bravern.
They're doing Apocalypse.
The Summer Hikaru died, which is coming out next season, that I am anticipating, because it seems like it'll be an interesting sort of like psychological mystery show.
Yeah. That's
a pretty solid studio output, honestly. Not a ton of stuff, but everything they do is like on point, seemingly.
They look like they could be given PA Works run for their money as far as original anime. They have two. Actually, as Minaria friends, I guess Minaria friends would technically be original. Well, they have two solidly original anime in Bang Bravern and Apocalypse Hotel, and both of them are bangers. I
I mean, they haven't been a studio for like a super long time, basically since like 2017. So, and I don't know, yeah, consistent output seemingly. So
it would be interesting to go and like catalog and talk about what studios are doing original anime consistently and how they're kind of doing, like kind of judging like how we liked the, because I feel like I don't know, I feel like I make a concerted effort to try to watch original anime when they come out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Specific on the grounds that's original. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to kind of like try to gauge out where like studios are. Like, oh, is PA Works doing pretty good? They got Madoka Punch. They got
what were they doing this season?
Food for the Soul.
Yeah.
And then what they've done like Shirobako and stuff in the past. They did Akira Maid War. That's what I was trying to think of. I don't know. It'd be interesting to try and do that. That might be something to do at some point.
Yeah. I don't know where this is gonna go in, but I'll put this in and transition.
Did we talk about Yaiba last time? Speaking of feeling sick, watching it.
I think I don't know. If we did, we probably did talk about the fact that the show is just completely. We're on episode 4 now. It's just completely gone off the rails of what I would have expected initially, based on like episode 1, where it's like, oh, we've gone beyond jumping the shark. We've now jumped like a whale or something like Leviathan itself.
We've jumped the Mariana Trench at this point.
It's really just it's kind of won me over more than that. It feels like it's really doing this like shonen kind of thing, or it's just like, all right, he is going to defeat the evil bad guy now. I'm like, all right, he's like, he needs to train with the ancient master. Like, sure, cool. He's fighting lizards and gecko men. I'm like, I don't even know what we're doing anymore. What's happening? The help.
Yeah, I'd like it's a vibe show for me. I think I like how it feels like it almost feels like Mahjong Guru Guru or something.
It's a fucking manga from the 90s. Of course it feels that way.
Yeah, it feels like that, but outside of that, I don't really. I like the animation. That's a good.
Oh no,
the
manga started in 88. Okay, so
yeah.
God, the animation is like, it's really like, okay, this most recent episode wasn't like the most over the top it's been, but it's like incredibly consistently like solid in terms of just keeping everything very like tight and slick looking, even if it's not necessarily going constantly over the top. It's really strong regardless.
Yeah, I
think it's okay. It is like the studio wit, so continuing to do weird and interesting things. We dropped Moonrise for context. I think I watched like 2 episodes of Moonrise. Mumi dipped out after episode 1.
No, I watched episode 2 episodes.
I was oh, you did?
Yeah, I watched the second episode.
And it's like, all right, we've put together a team of assassins, and it's like, why are all his friends still here? What is happening? I don't understand this anymore. And it's like, okay. And then literally everyone I talked to about Moonrise, they were just kind of like, yeah, it does not deliver. I'm like, that's unfortunate. That sucks.
Kind of kills your motivation.
Yeah. Yaiba's really good though.
Yaiba's fine.
Especially if you like a cool shonen anime, go watch Yaiba.
I will enjoy watching it, but it's definitely not gonna be on anyone's anime of the year list, I don't expect, unless it just pops off in the second half.
Yeah, it has not been as popular as I would have expected, because it is on Netflix too. So it's like, I feel like this would be like much more popular. I guess like the dark horse kind of like surprise hit of the season. I don't know how much of a surprise it is, to be honest, but To Be Hero X, which I think we talked about last time, has done pretty damn well. And I am continually enamored with it. I think evidently, so from what I've been told, we are getting a season 2. And what this first season basically is it's going to be setting up all of these heroes, like over the course of like these 24 episodes, setting up these different heroes that will then go into a tournament in season 2. And their placements in the tournaments, I guess are going to be based on like internet voting. So you can go and vote for who your favorite hero is, and that will determine like their rankings for their placements in the tournament.
Sounds like a shit post.
I don't know how that's going to work out.
Are you lying to me?
No, this is what I've heard. I was surprised to learn it. Like, oh, they're doing a season 2. To me, that's already insane because it's like 24 episodes of like pretty impressive animation. So I'm just like, how long is that going to take? How long did this take to make? How are they doing this?
Seems like it took a long time.
To Be Hero X has gotten really popular. I think Witch Watch is probably the most popular show this season, at least going by like the charts, which is not terribly surprising. It was popular enough to be put in theaters by G Kids. I think the manga itself is also like really popular, and Witch Watch is good. I think we also talked about that last time.
Let's
see what else.
Did we?
I think did we? Maybe we didn't. If we want, I don't know.
Demon Hunters, Superhero X, Lazarus, Vigilante, Yaiba, Anne, Rock, Food, ZatsuTabi, Mono, Kowloon. We did not talk about.
Did I actually I forget timestamping that episode, if I'm going to be honest.
You did timestamp it.
I did not remember doing that. Witch Watch is fun. It's not my favorite show this season. It is a very solid show, is what I'll say. This is like the bar for me in terms of like solid TV anime production, like visually. And I don't know, it's just like similar to how other shows are like fun sci-fi concepts. This is like fun magic concepts. It almost feels like a mix between like A Little Witch Academia and Familiar of Zero.
What do you mean the bar visually?
It's not necessarily like the most like insanely gorgeous thing like Mono, but it is like very consistent looking. You know, characters are very well drawn. When it does like kind of dip into like more intensive character animation, it's fairly well executed and is even willing to like, you know, break into more like cartoony expressionist kind of stuff, but just on like a frame by frame basis. I think it has just a very consistent look to it. Whereas, I mean, a lot of TV anime kind of have this problem where like, you know, if it, depending on like what it'll like limit itself in terms of like the perspective of the shot, or if it's something more complicated, the characters may not necessarily be as well drawn as they could have been. This has not really had a problem like that.
Okay. Because I would say this is like definitely above average. Like definitely solid.
No, I would say it's above average, but like in terms of like what I want a TV anime to look like, this is what I want TV anime to look like.
Pretty good.
It doesn't necessarily need to be like, you know, the most mind-blowing thing ever, but it needs to look really solid. And I think this is a really well put together production. It's also just fun. It's a silly little show. I like seeing like the dynamic between the main two. It's not the most out there thing in the world.
Nico is very adorable.
And I like, you know, her kind of like dynamic with like the main guy who's just kind of like very stern.
Stoic.
It's nice. I don't think everyone here probably is like listening is probably aware of Witch Watch. I don't know if we really need to upsell it all that much. I don't really have a ton to say apart from I don't know.
I've been loving it's very this and the Ninko and I'm trying to think of the Ushija Mumu have been very funny for me. This is more slapstick humor, I would say. In the sense of like,
yeah. Like in like the first episode, she like turns herself into paper. The second episode had like the giant head gag.
It also had the fucking like the light magic where like they make everything really light, and then like the payoff is like everything becomes heavy, and they all just get like really depressed. This has been a very fun show.
Third episode had cute and funny magic.
Oh yeah, the cute funny magic. They were very cute.
Funny magic. I wish I had magic powers like that.
I don't know if you'd be very cute or funny. Sorry.
Thanks for dashing those hopes, asshole. Oh.
Listen, if you didn't get that from Miracle, whatever the fuck that was.
The Miracle-chan Angel Kitty.
Angel Kitty. Yeah, if you didn't get that from that, you had to get it from me. What did I say?
But what if I actually had magical powers? Anything's possible with magic, Mumi.
If you had magical powers, why don't we have a fucking successful podcast yet?
Oh, did we talk about the other witch show this season last time?
No, we did not talk about Once Upon a Witch's Death.
I love this show, honestly. It really caught me off guard, if I'm going to be honest.
It's very similar in premise to like a Kabuto, where it's like you have to set out and like do a thing, get the MacGuffins by helping people, and they're all in the jar. It's like, oh, this is kind of Kabuto pilled. It also has the fucking OP is sung by Maya Sakamoto. I'm like, are you doing this on purpose? Because Maya Sakamoto did the OP for Kabuto.
Oh.
And I'm like,
maybe, yeah.
I was watching the OP for this, and I'm like, wait a minute, why is this sound? This just sounds like Kabuto's OP. What the fuck is going on? I like the premise. Like, I feel like this is one that I like thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense of it
has some nice layers to it, where it's like, because it is like, okay, she is like trying to like cope with the fact that she is going. There's a strong chance she will die in a year because of this curse. The first two episodes obviously deal very heavily with like death and kind of like impermanence.
Well, the year thing, the dying in a year is very similar to, something like Full Moon, where she's going to die in a year. Except in that, that's what's contextualizing why the show is going to be running for a full year's season cycle.
Yeah, whereas this is an ongoing like series, so I don't know. I don't know how that. Okay, no, I guess the novels are. The novels ran 2019 and 2022, but the light novels are still going. I don't know if the story's going to end or not.
There's the element of like how magic is always kind of associated with like the wonderment of childhood or whatever. I don't think it's a coincidence that she's going to die on her 18th birthday or whatever, or when she turns 18 and she's going to progressively get older. There's a lot of interesting things to kind of think about. It's just there's not really a place to take it to quite yet, because we're not really far enough along to where you can draw like, oh yeah, this is what they're doing here, and this is what it's just kind of like the start of threads you can start kind of pulling at, and you're like, oh, this is kind of cool. You got this going on and this going on.
But I think the main hook of the show is like beyond that is the fucking main character is a fucking compromised goblin girl,
Meg Raspberry. My favorite quote of the show so far is when her friends like fucking sees what's her name, Sophie, the celebrity witch, and she like passes out. She's like, I think I'm gonna wet myself. She's like, you want me to drink it for you?
Yeah, I'm like, why the fuck did she say that? It's so like, because like they have a running gag in the show where it's like, oh, she like keeps saying stuff that makes her sound like a dirty old man.
Yeah,
but nothing to that extent. So when she says it, I'm like I did a double take. I'm like, oh, that is like,
excuse me.
It's an interesting sort of thing where she has this very like lighthearted, silly like energy to her, and to a certain extent, that is just who she is. But it does also kind of come across as like this sort of like coping mechanism. The show obviously deals with that a fair amount, where she puts up this front because she is like dealing with the fact that death is on her fucking door, basically.
She does get very contemplative about it, which is interesting. Like,
yeah,
you get those like moments where she kind of like lets her guard down, and she's just like, "What would you do if you were gonna die?"
Yeah,
the kid's immediately just like, "Are you dying?" No, wait, no, I was talking about a friend. No, you're dying. Shut the fuck up.
And yeah, I've honestly been pleasantly surprised, like, because we went on the show with no expectations, and then we watched that first episode and we're like, this is pretty good. I feel like continuing watching this, and it's been pretty consistent. Like, my only gripe with the show is I do wish it looked better. If I'm gonna be honest, that's like the main weak point of the show for me is like
not even just like animation wise, but also like the direction is just kind of like okay, like it's not doing anything crazy,
particularly like strong, like shot composition or anything like that. Right. Characters are kind of drawn, not as well as I would have liked, but I think that what the show is doing beyond that, though, in terms of like the theming, the characters, all that sort of stuff, is strong enough for me that it's definitely more up there in like my seasonal ranking as it stands, because I really like watching this show and I like thinking about it. It's a nice show.
I don't know where this is in my seasonal rankings because this season is fucking insane. And every time I try to think about it, I'm just like, this is like a nebulous blob of like all these good shows are here vaguely.
Yeah.
All the bad shows
It's
are
like,
here.
yeah, I have a general idea of like chunks, but within those chunks, I can like move stuff around fairly fluidly.
Yeah. It's kind of insane. Because like I wanted to, I feel like I initially had this in my top 3 or 4, and like now I feel like it might be like in my top 10, and it's just I don't have a firm grasp of where everything is. It's just like
it's a pretty tight race this season, honestly, which I did not expect. It's been, what are you saying? It's like what, maybe like your favorite season since like what, 2014 or something?
This might be the second best season I've watched like as it was airing since fall 2014, which was like Mushishi season 2, Your Lie in April, Unlimited Blade Works, Barakamon, shit like that. Like that was a fucking stacked Shirobako. That was a stacked season, and this is like, it doesn't have like the big names like Mushishi or fucking I guess Your Lie in April wasn't a huge.
I mean, we have
name.
a new Gundam.
I guess, yeah. It's got Gundam.
I think actually probably the biggest show of the season is that new Gundam show, if I'm going to be honest, because every time a new episode comes out, I just see it trending on Twitter.
Yeah. It's only got 35,000 people on fucking Mal, though.
I don't know how. No, I mean, if there were ever a case of, okay, this my anime list is not necessarily reliable in terms of gauging a show's popularity. There you have it. There is no fucking way. The show is only like that far down on the charts. No, it's definitely like closer to the top. And maybe it's just like that the people like watching it are not my anime list users.
Yeah. I don't know. We talked a lot about fucking G-Cucks, and there's not been any new material. So
no, yeah, we're episode 4, baby. We're gonna be getting some new stuff finally that we'll actually have to like talk about.
If you want to listen to our thoughts, we literally talked about it for like nearly 2 hours with John Mercury Falcon.
Yeah, and we'll probably be talking about it again before the season ends, like as like a midpoint kind of thing. I mean, that's also like really high up there for me this season. Let's see. We talked about how whelming Lazarus was. My vigilantes. Okay, touched on Yaiba, Shirley, Rock, Food, ZatsuTabi, Mono, Cow.
Is that Dark Lord one the biggest surprise? Not necessarily because
I don't know. We haven't watched like a new episode in like 3 weeks.
We're watching a new episode tomorrow, at least.
Yeah, so I guess maybe like it's kind of a surprise. I don't know, because like we watched it. It was like the first thing to come out in the season. So we watched like the first 3 episodes because they all just like released all at once, I guess. But then we're still released weekly anyway. I don't know. It's fucking weird. So we haven't watched like an episode in a good few weeks, and you're like, that was a lot of fun. You know, that's like we're just like cheering on the NTR the first episode and stuff, and it's like doing all this like weird, absurd stuff. You know, robot maids, samurai. The samurai's also a fraud. He is like the fucking like Dune Messiah. I don't know. All this weird stuff going on, and we're like, this is a lot of fun. I don't know anymore because the season is so fucking stacked. I feel like it's like further down on the chart for me now, but I don't know how to gauge that because I haven't seen a new episode since like starting the season, basically.
I mean, it was never very high for me, but I feel like it was a surprise because like I literally just expected we were like it was an easy drop, right?
Like, easy drop, and then we watched and we're like, oh, this show is kind of funny, absurd, and weird. Yeah.
Well, it's like because it takes the concept and is like kind of lampooning these things, like. He's like, I'm going to be
doing
evil.
Everything all at once.
He's like, basically. I'm going to be. So, because a lot of people complain about the power fantasy aspect of isekai or whatever. And so, like, this character is basically put through the ringer in his past life. And then, like, this dude, fucking Dio, just shows up and he's like, you want to live in another world? You can do whatever you want and you'll have a second chance. And he's like, I'm going to be an evil lord or something. And
it comes across like it's this like Faustian pact, but the Faustian aspect of it is like
he's just dead,
non-existent so far.
Yeah,
or like incredibly petty.
Well, no, like
it's like, oh, by the way,
it seems like he like
you're
put him in a
debt.
Well, it seems like he put him in like a shitty position, like his life is gonna be worse or something. But like it
doesn't seem that way.
It hadn't manifested that way yet, but like I think it was supposed to be like, oh, we're gonna put you with a shitty, destitute lord family that's gonna like immediately go bankrupt, kind of thing. But
or maybe the demon guy voiced by Dio was just like easily amused because we then see him at like a ramen restaurant haunting this one girl, and she like tries to break her chopsticks.
He's like, ah, yes,
and they
misfortune.
He's like, ah, yes, her misery sustains me. So it's like maybe he's just like incredibly like petty.
It's like the thing I like most about it is like, again, people complain about the power fantasy thing. He gets reborn in this world. He's like, I'm gonna be evil, and he's like really terrible at it. Like he basically kind of just gets by because he's not an asshole, so it kind of helps him. But he's trying to be an asshole, and everyone just keeps taking advantage of him when he's an asshole. It's kind of hilarious and like it's not the funniest show or anything, but like the way that it's kind of going about it is like, okay, I see your game. I'm sorry, I wasn't familiar with your game, but I see it now.
If it keeps that up, where it's like every episode is just like something new and absurd is introduced, I definitely feel like sticking with it. But that's obviously going to be like a tough act to like maintain.
Yeah.
There was one show, what is it? The Country Bumpkin show that I think we might end up dropping this next episode.
Yeah.
In part just because like it's not like a bad show, but it's like it's up against like top hitters of the season, basically.
Like there are literally like 7 shows that could be a 7 out of 10 for me, and they are all just like nebulously around the same place. And there's not really a clear distinction between those and the ones like the next like 5. So there's just a lot of shit this season coming out that are very good.
Whereas Country Bumpkin came out and we're like, oh, this is like a nice, like, like fun concept, off the, the way like it introduces itself. Cause like, he's this kind of like old guy. He's really strong, but he's like very like humble about it. But everyone else like, recognizes how proficient of a swordsman he is. So he has like all these like young girls like, that have grown up that he trained, and like they kind of like all like fawn after him a little bit. Then that's an interesting sort of like change in this kind of dynamic that you usually see in these kinds of like fantasy shows, to then have it be like this protagonist is just older. It hasn't really developed that though over these past few episodes, so it's kind of like I'm giving it one more episode. I'm giving it episode 4, and if it doesn't like communicate to me that it's like, okay, I should expect something more about it, then it's like, maybe just drop it, honestly, because it is like a kind of a stacked season, and it's like closer towards like the end quality wise, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, we need to work on we need to work on content. We need to do other shit.
Yeah, we don't want to be watching like 20 shows every season, but we're forced to because
they're good.
Season is really strong.
We went into this season. I think we talked about this. We went into the season. I wanted to be like under 15. I didn't have like a hard cutoff, but I'm like, we should be able to do that. It's not.
And the hard cutoff is slitting our wrists, I guess.
So I think we're at 22 or 23.
Yeah, because like we're watching like 4 shows every day in Justice, basically. So that's 20. 19 actually, because I think we have like 3 on Friday. So 19.
And we watch 5 on Sundays.
Sunday in Lexington. So that's like 24 shows this season. God help us. No sequels, by the way. We wanted to watch like Shoshiman series season 2. There was Windbreaker season 2. Ranger Reject season. We just don't have time.
I might watch those on my own. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, same.
It's hard to squeeze those in.
I haven't been wanting to get back into watching Shoshiman series. I did like it. I only watched the first 2 episodes, but I didn't like it. But now it's like the main girl's like we thought they were supposed to be autistic. I guess the main girl's like a sociopath or something.
Yeah. I mean, what's the difference, really?
Yeah, true. Yeah, anyone who has autism is just by nature a psychopath as well.
Well, I think I was thinking more like if you're a psychopath, that's probably on the ASD spectrum somewhere.
Oh, okay. So it's the other way around.
Yeah. I mean, ADD
so
is on the autism spectrum.
And it seems like they're definitely like leaning into that even more with the second season. So I'm like, that's interesting. That's different from Hyoka. I should pick this back up.
Man, it's like Hyoka if Shitanda was a psychopath.
It was a psychopath.
We also had to drop fucking Ballpark, which...
Oh, yeah.
I was okay. I wouldn't mind watching it if, like, again, it's like the Country Bumpkin. If it were another season,
yeah,
I would not mind keeping up with
it. Visually, it's not the best show in the world, but it is like, I don't know, it's such a comfy concept. I like the idea of just ballpark propaganda.
Yeah, it's. I like the little vignettes. It's like the fucking was it the second episode where the fucking new wife is like starting fights in the stands with people because they're shit talking your husband. They're like, he's washed up.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm gonna wash you up, you fucking bitch. It's
a nice show, but it's like, yeah, we just don't have time.
Yeah.
We don't have time. Is there anything else? What else? There was the teacher ghost detective thing, which is like tied to like another property that we were like,
oh yeah, that being tied to Box of Goblins. For people that don't know what we're talking about the Mononoke lectured logs of Chuzenji Sensei. He just solves all the mysteries.
Yeah,
which is a very fun it's, again, this is one of those, it's like it's on the level of like Tasukare Hotel from last season for me.
Yeah,
where it would be very fun to watch on another season, but like this being so stacked, I'm just like, we don't have time. But
we don't have time.
Someone pointed out this is tied to Box of Goblins.
Explain what Box of Goblins is.
And I'm just
no
like,
one knows what that is.
So Box of Goblins, I haven't seen it either. It's been on my backlog for fucking ages, but it's just like a mystery show that generally is well regarded. And so I'm now knowing that it's tied to that has my interest peaked again, where I'm like, shit, now I gotta watch Box of Goblins and this shit. Like,
see how it all ties together.
It's when we watched of it though, it was fun. It's very simple concept where it's like the teacher just basically solves all the mysteries and then gives some kind of plausible like deniability clause or something where it's like, oh well, just tell there was a hole or something that was able, or someone put a penny under the door and that's why you couldn't open the door. It wasn't locked on the inside. Shit like that. It's very mundane. It's kind of like Hyoka in that way, where it's very mundane. The mysteries are not really mysteries a lot of the time. Like I think the episode where that door lock thing, it was literally just like some boy went into the boys' bathroom and a girl had gone in there because there's no toilet paper in the women's bathroom, and the teacher like went to like open the door and check, and then saw the girl hiding behind the door or whatever. It was just like, oh, there's no one in there. That's crazy. It's a haunted bathroom. And immediately we're just like, oh no, that's okay. That's immediately, we just know what happened.
Yeah.
Now. There's no mystery here. Move along. It's very,
speaking of a show, doing a show with no mystery to it.
I don't know if
Dinner Detective, Mumi.
Oh,
I
forgot that show existed. Thank you. I had moved on.
Or that first episode, the mystery was so obvious. I was like, it can't be that, because it's so obvious. They should have just been able to figure it out. A baby could do it just through basic like logical inference.
So I mean, to be fair, okay, you can never disparage the intelligence of a character in the show for not knowing these things, because like I feel like the thing that made it very obvious was the way it was written, where it was just immediately just like you have four
suspects, and it was established that the victim did not know who attacked her but did recognize her, and we have established that 3 of the 4 suspects definitely knew the girl, the victim. Who else could it be?
I don't know. You know, It was very obvious, but I felt like it was one of those things where it's like.
But here's the thing. That's based on deductions made by the detective that is supposed to be like an incompetent boob. So therefore, I was like, okay, maybe we should just like cast all of that aside and try and reevaluate it and see where that leads us. But no, it doesn't matter. It's just it's just the thing.
It's just, I remember we got into an argument about this with somebody, and it was like,
oh yeah, with Pepper, yeah.
Yeah, it was like, it was obvious because of how it was written. And like, I guess like in the second episode, I didn't watch the second episode because I was like, I already know where this is going. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But I guess in the second episode, they established like, oh, well, we didn't know it was her because like her necklace is a different color. It's like, they literally.
Why was she in the lineup then? If they specifically asked for people with red dresses and green necklaces.
Yeah.
She didn't have a green necklace.
There's that. And it's also like, you can't go by that in like productions because like a lot of the time, like if something's like small, like a pendant or something, it doesn't necessarily always have the exact color it needs. Like sometimes it just is like the one solid color instead of like the 5 colors it's supposed to be or whatever. So like you're not even paying attention to that because it wasn't even really that focused on. No, and they don't.
And I went back through the episode. At no point do we see, because the idea is like, oh, it's a gem that it looks green under certain lighting, but red under other lighting. And I went back. You don't see that gem in like any green coloration at any point in that first episode either. So it's not something you could even like really infer.
Yeah, it's very stupid. Like literally, I literally solved the mystery because I was like, okay, clearly they're establishing this, like they're playing on the
most
audience.
Basic of process of elimination in a multiple choice quiz.
Well, I even like was like solving how they're like doing the red herring thing because I was like, okay, they're very clearly as like making it where the audience is taking for granted that this character knows this character even though she doesn't. Because like they established that they went to the same school, but they're taking like basically omitting the fact that she only hung out with them and not her. And
yeah,
sure fucking enough, that's what they were doing. And it's like, gee, who saw that coming?
Who could have? That's the thing. It's like the detective is supposed to be incompetent in the show. His like female subordinate, who's the main character, is supposed to be more competent. Neither of them are able to figure this out. And it's just kind of like, how dumb. Like, instead, they have to have the butler guy like mansplain it to the main girl, basically. And it's like, why? What's the point of this?
I think when we were talking about this, I think they got offended because they thought I was like saying I was like smart or something. It's like, no, I'm saying this because I don't generally watch a lot of mystery shows and I don't tend to like try to solve them. And I don't necessarily think like I don't think I'm smart in that way.
It solves it for you is the thing.
Well, if it's so transparent what they're doing that I'm able to see it, I'm like immediately disinterested because I'm like, I'm not geared this way. I don't enjoy media in this way where I would generally be able to do this. So if I am doing this, it's just not very well executed. That's like my opinion of it.
I just don't know why they couldn't solve it themselves.
I don't
get it. And I guess it's like, because like Guy in our Discord is also like watching it. Like he continued with it. And yeah, the show is just basically built around the butler guy will just explain the mystery to the girl.
Miss Mansplains.
Because she's a fucking idiot, I guess. And
she's a woman.
I don't know, men are just better than women. Hell yeah. This is the anime for all the Andrew Tate like fans out there, I guess.
So take that as a recommendation. If the stupid mystery show sounds cool to you and you hate women.
Speaking of hating women, what was that boy-girl friendship show?
Yeah, I feel like I could like that okay. I liked the characterization of the girl. Is it Inazuka?
Oh, yeah.
Himari, whatever her name is. I liked her characterization. I like the idea of the romance. I like that it's like her taking initiative, which can sound weird because I feel like that happens a lot in these sort of romances because you always get like the soy beta male who does never act on anything, and it's always the girl that has to do pursuing. But I feel like it's done like legitimately here, where like she's the one that has like initiative and agency, and he's just kind of like on his grind set. It's not positioned in a way that a lot of those are, where it's just like a soy beta guy, like, oh man, I don't want to talk to women. It's just kind of more like they're friends. He doesn't really have that prerogative, and she just has more agency in that kind of aspect than he does. So
yeah,
it's a very like different dynamic, even though it's a similar setup. So
for me, it's a matter of like, it's an interesting idea to have this sort of like platonic dynamic between the guy and the blue-haired girl. I mean, it says in the show, like the show title is "Can a boy-girl friendship survive?" and then parentheses, no, it can't. So it's just kind of like, oh,
I mean, that's fine.
Okay,
that's fine.
I know where this is going. I know. I mean, you could smell it from a mile away.
I just like, I don't guess I have a problem with it in that aspect. Like, I just like, it's fine. That kind of premise doesn't bother me or anything. It'd be more like,
I also don't terribly care for their designs. Like, I like their designs more when like they're in like middle school. Like they're in high school.
What are you trying to say?
I'm saying that like the main guy grows up to just kind of be kind of plain looking, and I don't care about these. Also, the main girl, her personality does not necessarily fit her like Gyaru aesthetic, if I'm going to be honest. There's like a weird clash there. I don't know. I'm not terribly into like their character designs.
I think you're trying to say you're into middle schoolers aesthetically more than high schoolers. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And then were there any middle school shows that we could transition into? I don't think there were.
I want to transition into a middle schooler.
I guess in terms of romance, and maybe to cap this off, romance that I wanted to watch, but Mumi said no. I wanted to watch Summer Pockets, the new key adaptation.
Listen, if I don't make cutoff somewhere, we're watching everything. Do we want to watch everything?
Why can't we just watch everything?
We don't have time. There's no time.
Come on, we'll make time.
How are we going to make time? There's no
All right,
time.
Okay, so we're going to use the tips that we learned from Uchujin Mumu, and we're going to make a time machine so we can watch every anime this season.
All right, I got it. We're going to make the time machine, but the time machine's going to use so many resources, it's going to blow up the planet. So then we'll have to go to another alien planet where we will then go back up the whole technological skill tree.
Oh, so
just like you were talking about.
So we're going to recreate all of the anime that we're going to be watching this season.
Yeah, we will recreate. If we're making it, then we know the anime because we made the anime, and then we will then make a time machine so we can go back in time to watch all those anime that we created, and we will blow up the planet and go to another planet.
Speaking of time machines, though, Summer Pockets feels straight out of 2013. It feels like such an old, like a show that would have come out like a decade ago.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like Little Busters
because it is like I think the idea too behind the visual novel is like it was supposed to be kind of like a return to form for Key. So that also kind of explains like, and especially I could really tell that it's like because Jun Maeda did not write it. I think he has original story credit, but it's not like his baby. But he did also do music on it. And while we're watching the show, I'm just like closing my eyes, watching this first episode, closing my eyes, and hearing the characters speak with the music playing. And just, I'm so clearly and so easily able to imagine just the visual novel, like in my head, listening to the characters and the music. It's really funny.
You're just imagining like the sprite.
Fine. It's a cute show that I would have liked to watch, but yeah, we just don't have time. And I think I was the only one who was enthusiastic about it.
I mean, I would watch it. Like, if this were last season, I would watch it.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that we've got so much shit to watch, I'm like, I can't. I'm not watching Windbreaker 2 or Shoshiman 2, which I want to watch both of those. Because I have no time.
There's no time.
There's no time.
This is a season that reminds us that our existence is finite.
Fleeting.
We're spending our time here watching and talking about it. And for what, really? What do we get out of this? Nothing. This whole podcast is pointless.